Hey everybody, how y'all doing today? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to have some fun and we're going to be putting the Blazer body back up on top of the frame. And that should be just a blast because I'm by myself. Well, I'm not by myself. I have the Any dog here today, and you know, she's worthless as a mechanic. She can't help at all. She doesn't even know how to bring the right tools. Do you? Yeah, see, she don't care. That's not fun to her. Chasing the ball is fun to her. So I gotta figure out how I'm gonna slide this thing up under here. I think I'm gonna lift the Blazer up a little higher on the rotisserie, make some room for the frame under here. My dog just threw the ball for herself. I wish the camera was pointed in that direction, you could have seen it. Anyway, what are you doing, crazy? What are you doing? Am I not playing with you enough? I start talking and you want to play. Seriously, she leaves me completely alone until I start talking, and then she thinks it's time for her to get the ball thrown for her. Yeah. I hope that didn't go outside. Anyway, let's get busy. I need to get this thing up under here. So, all right, so the frame here has got to go right up under there. Now, I've kind of lined it up how it goes. So the Blazer and the frame are lined up as to where the bolt holes are compared to the body mounts. I mean, it probably has to go forward. The frame has to go forward just a little bit. Just like I did when I took the body off the frame, I'm going to use the engine hoist with a strap to lift the body up and clear out this room right here. So I have to remove this. It's totally in the way. There's no way that's going to slide past there. So let's get this thing hooked up first and lift it up in the air. Okay, I'm out of breath because I just laid on the ground and bench pressed this thing up. I wanted to see if I could do it, and obviously I can. However, I don't recommend it. It's a lot heavier than it looks. I'm really tall, so I mean, I was at my limits pushing that thing up from those bump stop mounts. And I barely got it up there, and I figured I wasn't gonna stop and do it again for the camera, so I'm sorry you didn't get to see that. Not recommended though. This side will be significantly easier. I pretty much just have to deadlift it up onto the sawhorse. So the bolt should go. All right, so we got the body on the frame. Bolts are in. None of them are tight. They're all very loose still. You can see by the thing hanging down. But they're all in, they're all lined up. Looks pretty good to me. Nice. That one. And that one. That one. This one. And that one. So the next thing I have to do is actually throw the axles on, which I don't have. But we can put on the leaf springs and possibly set it on the ground. Then we'll start with the doors, the core support, and get the lid on it. All right, so we got the body back on the frame. All the body mounts are installed but not tightened. We got the springs mounted, not tightened. And since I can't get the axles yet, I got it on a 2x4. And the main reason is that bolt, I just didn't want it sitting on the concrete. And if the springs are gonna flex at all, I think it'd be better to do on a board, which as opposed to being on the flat ground. Okay. Before we can do any body work really, like panel replacement or anything like that, everything has to be lined up. So, and before I can line anything up, the body has to be tightened down. I found some torque specs online, although there were a bunch of different people throwing numbers around, I tell you. I did go to a Chevy forum site and find that. Hold on a sec. Turn this thing down. That's a little better. Anyway, we found that. Stay here. Line body, tighten body mounts. These are the numbers I found. Position 1, that's the front, the core support. So we have 55 there. 20 at the main body, 30 are those long bolts, and then the rear 3 that are all the same bolt, all the same body mount, they're all the same torque spec, 24, 24, 24. Now, that's one thing I found. Most of them say tighten till you see a bulge. So, I'm gonna try this first. And this is the sequence I'm gonna go. 3, 4, kind of like tightening out a head or something. 3, 4, 2, 5, 1, 6. That'll be my positioning or my tightening. Then we can align the doors, hood, fenders, cowl, tailgate. Paint area under rocker boxes. I went and got some chassis black, weld-on rocker box reinforcements. So before you go tightening down all these bolts, especially if you had the body completely off the frame, you got to make sure you're centered pretty much front and back. There's not a whole lot of play in the bolts or in the mounts themselves, but there is some. So you could potentially be off 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch, maybe a half. You might not notice that if it was off front to back, you know, one side going one way, one going the other, but to the discerning eye, someone would pick that up. They're going to notice your tires are sticking out funny or something like that. So try to center the body on the frame as much as possible. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure between two hard points from like here to there, and then find the center, mark it, and then I'll be able to come square off of here. And I have, you should use something flat against the frame to make your mark against the body. But again, we'll just make sure all our widths are the same from here to here on the center line of the body to the frame. So on the front, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the inner structure, which is this piece right here, to the side of the frame. And on this side also from the inner structure to the side of the frame. Now the core support has the most amount of play. Most of the body mounts fit inside the supports right here. Most of those, what are you doing, dog? Most of those cups just fit right inside the hole. There wasn't too much play. For some reason the front has a ton of play. I don't know if we can see it from underneath. Maybe not. Not really, because, well, here, let me take this off. Okay. All right, as you can see, there is just a lot of gappage up here. Right there. So that means this bushing can move all around, that body mount bushing. So lining up the front's going to be a little bit more challenging here, but it'll be a little bit more apparent when the fenders, because the fenders are on and how they line up with the doors. Okay? Okay. Okay, so this is the outside of the frame, this is the outside of the frame, this is the center of the body. And I bet you they're gonna be off. I'm just gonna put that right there. We're just under 17 inches here. We're way under 17 inches there. We're 16 3/4, actually just 3/4 plus. So we need to move over about 1/8 of an inch to the driver's side. So the driver's side's right at 17. Let's see what this side is. Rock holes? It is rock holes. More fun to fix. Oh, we gotta go that way. close to center. Gotcha. That moved a lot. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. I got 16 3/4 on both sides. So now we can tighten down all the main body bolts in the sequence that I want to do. Okay, with all the body bolts torqued down, now we're going to work on the doors real quick. And the reason I work on the doors is because we have two hard points to measure against. We have the B pillar right here, and also the rocker panel. So we're going to line those things up against them. Make sure we have a decent, nice gap here. And then we'll work on the fenders. So we got the passenger door. It's about as lined up as it's going to get here. I kept using my thumb up top here as an alignment area, but it just would never line up. But if I pull it out a little at the top, it lines up everywhere all the way down. So what's out is up here where my thumb is, and you can kind of tell. So if I, yeah, see that gap? It's not supposed to be there. But this door's super messed up anyway, you know. We got the little crack here, the giant crack there, and the crack here, and a crack over here, because this, I'm sure, is flexing. You can tell that there's a tight gap here, and it gets a little bit wider at the top. Not too worried about it. What I want are the hard lines stuff. I want this stuff to line up because this stuff is not adjustable. So that's where the main focus point is right now. Now we can move forward, start to put the fenders on, and we'll even do the cowl and the hood. Just got to make sure it's all lined up. So I was wrong about something I said in a video about 6-7 months ago when I was pulling this Blazer apart. These body washers were not put in there due to the rocker boxes being cut out. They were put in there by the factory. And so I got to put these back in here. 3 on this side, 2 on that side. Should bring the front of this up a little, allow me to line the fenders better. Because I have, it's probably even worse now because I loosened the core support. Yeah, it's much worse. But let me show you what I'm looking at. So on both sides of the vehicle, we have a real tight body gap up top and a pretty large one at the bottom. And those are much different. You don't want that. The front of the fenders are sitting on the core support, and the core support was tied down. And the core support was completely torqued down properly. So the fenders can't go down in front anymore, which is what I need to close that gap right here. And we'll also open that up, so the front has to go down. Now, another thing, since the front can't go down, that means this has to come up, right? So there's a bolt like right there. That's where it goes. So if I add these 3 super thick washers back under there, that should open up this gap, because that's going to lift up the front of the tub, you know, and trust me, it's going to pivot here, and it's going to look a bitchin'. It's going to look very nice. It's going to look better than it does right now. Look, I got it in. So we're looking really good on these doors and fenders and their alignment. I got the body mounts retorqued. I got the proper body shims up under there on each side. The passenger side looks great, and the driver's side does too. I know it kind of doesn't look like it, but this door's not fully closed. So there, that's better. On to the cowl, and then the hood, and then the tailgate. Cup's gonna be in the way. Oh no. Alrighty then. Hood, fenders, cowl, doors. Tailgate Amundo. Door, cowl, hood, fender.